Hey guys, today's video is about the amazing ATOTO, and this is their 2022 A6 Performance. Now you should know who ATOTO are because they are a fairly well-known Android-based head unit brand. They're well known because they actually care about their customers. They only use quality components and they give you everything you need to actually get it working. And that is very unlike a lot of the other Android-based head units. That does mean that they're a little bit more expensive than other Android head units, but you pay for quality, you get what you pay for. Now this one is one of their budget head units at only £240. So it's sacrificing a little bit on power with regards to memory and processor power, but at the same time, you still get all the decent high-end audio components. Now at this point I should probably say that I don't get paid to endorse any companies or products, and all my videos are based on my own experience and opinion of using the products. So with that in mind, I'm now going to unbox this and get on with it. Here it is. So this is the ATOTO A6 Performance, and in the typical ATOTO fashion it has these lovely physical buttons on the front, which makes all the difference to an Android head unit, I feel, because it gives it a little bit of additional quality. At the same time, it looks a bit more factory in your car when you have physical buttons. It has a built-in microphone in the top corner here and a reset button in the bottom corner here as well. Now, like the other ATOTOs, this one is fairly slim, as you can see. And it has this enormous heatsink on the back to make sure that the heat is dissipated appropriately. It's got connections along the top here for the various connectors. It has a FM antenna input here. You've got the GPS antenna input here. The Wi-Fi antenna is also built into this unit already, so you don't need to faff about connecting it separately. And this covered connector here is where the 4G would be if it had 4G, but this one is obviously the budget model, it doesn't have it. And then the main loom connector is here. Remember, this is a budget unit. If you wanted all singing, all dancing, you can buy the ATOTO S8, which has everything that you could possibly want. Remember, this is the more budget version if you want to save a few pennies. It's still going to be very, very good. It just doesn't have the high specifications of the S8. But this A6 does have an 8-core processor and 2 GB of memory with 32 GB of ROM storage space as well. So also in the box you get a couple of bezel trims, you get some metal brackets, you get a GPS antenna, an external microphone. Now this is excellent. This is ATOTO giving you everything that you need. Normally with other Android head units you'd have to buy this separately. You get 2 USB ports, you get your reverse camera input, you get a loom which has auxiliary video and audio input, a subwoofer out, an amplifier trigger wire, a front camera input, and the external microphone input as well. And then we've got 3 different main looms, and again this goes back to ATOTO giving you everything that you could possibly need. There's 2 ISO looms. The reason why there's 2 of them is because the permanent live 12 volt and the ignition live is switched between these 2. So some cars have them one way, some cars have the other. So rather than having to cut the wires and change them, you can just plug in the correct one for your car. So that's cool. And then separately they are giving you the individual wires so that you can actually just splice it directly into your car yourself, which is more popular in the States. But remember, the ISO connections will give you plug and play because there's adapters that go from your car to ISO, nice and easy. Now at this point you might be wondering where the low-level outputs are. There's no RCA outputs for this ATOTO unit. But instead what ATOTO have done is they've given you these 2 high to low level converters. Now this is the first time that I've ever seen them do this, and this is quite cool. Basically you connect them to the speaker outs on the stereo, left and right, front and rear, and they give you the RCAs on the other side, and they are actually adjustable. So you can adjust the gain on here so that you can get the RCAs just right for your amp. Now what I was going to do is actually install this in one of my cars, but it's currently at the shop at the moment, so I can't do that. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to test it in the jukebox test station that I have here in the studio, so that we can play with all the features and see how good it is. So that's what I'm going to go and do now. If you watch my channel already, you know what this is. It is a jukebox that has been specifically modified to test car radios. So if you have a look in this double DIN gap, we have the ISO connections that you would find in a car, along with the radio antenna and a GPS connection here as well. So if you have a look, I've connected the metal side brackets onto this unit, which gives it more of a doubled in kind of feel, and I've plugged in the main loom connection. Okay, so the power button just imitates what would happen if you turn the ignition on in the car. So let's have a look how quick this thing boots up. Very, very quickly indeed. Now the box does say that it is supposed to boot in 2 seconds, and well, it did indeed boot in 2 seconds. So now those of you familiar with ATOTO devices will see that it has the standard ATOTO dashboard, which is actually very good. In the top left hand corner here you have a widget which allows control of the MP3 or FLAC music player. So if you have a USB stick full of your favorite music, just stick it in and they will show up on this little widget here. On the right hand side here you have 6 icons which are completely changeable to your own preference, and then on the bottom here you have another 6 icons. Now these ones are also changeable, but they stay all the time even if you swipe. So for example, look, I'm swiping to the left, everything on the top changed. You now have a radio widget on the left hand side and even more icons on the right here, but those bottom 6 always stay the same. So anything that you always want to have access to, you can just set on the bottom here, and it's as simple as touching it and you can move it around. So you can just put whatever apps you want down on the bottom, simple as that. I do like customizability, and this does actually have that. Now whilst we're talking about the look and feel of this device, I have to say that the screen quality is so sharp. There's a real crispness to the screen. Now, it's not the best screen that ATOTO offer. Obviously, if you go for an S8 Premium, you're going to be looking at things like QLED, and that's where you get the really amazing contrast ratios. But this A6 Performance still has a really, really crisp screen that you're not going to be disappointed with. Now, I don't know if you can hear that, but every time I touch this screen, it bleeps. Now this is an ATOTO thing. I don't know why you guys do this over at ATOTO, make the thing bleep every time you touch it. It's one of the most annoying things that I know. Now luckily it's easy enough to turn off, so we just hit this button here, go to device, sound, touch sound, off. There we go, done. And now it's not going to make that annoying noise anymore. Now that's the other thing about the ATOTO devices. This is not like a generic cheap Chinese Android head unit. What they have done is put a lot of time and effort into designing every aspect of the software that's installed. So when you go into the menus, you are presented with something that looks very pretty and it's very, very easy to navigate. You've got these really nice toggle switches, and everything that you want to find is just going to be there. Right, let's talk about Speeeed. So this uses an ARM Cortex-A55 8-core CPU with 2 GB of memory. Now, 2 GB is the minimum that I always recommend when you buy an Android head unit. So let's see how this affects the startup times for the apps that I usually test, Spotify and Waze. So we're going to go into apps here, and then we'll move to, let's start with Spotify. There we go. So actually that was pretty fast. A lot of that is to do with the CPU. When you normally look at head units that only have 2 GB of RAM, they also are normally coupled with a poor CPU, which is slow. But as you can see from this one, that was actually pretty fast, so I'm pretty impressed with that. Right, let's go and check out Waze. There we go. I mean, it's fast. This is a very, very fast head unit. Now the fact that it's only got 2 GB of memory isn't going to make that much of a difference to its usability because it has that fast CPU. And to prove this, I can go back to Spotify by going back home, and we can find it here. And it's pretty much instant start, and that's because those applications have been saved to memory, and I can do the same, go back to Waze again, and again it's instantly there because it's already been loaded into the memory of the unit. So From a speed perspective, this is pretty damn fast. Now obviously it's not going to be as fast as the ATOTO S8 Premium or any of the premium head units that I've reviewed, but it is still very fast indeed. Right, let's talk about vehicle integration. Normally when we're dealing with an Android head unit, we want it to match the car that we're putting it in. So I look for, can we change the colors of the buttons to the correct lighting inside the car? Can I set a vehicle logo on boot up? And can I set my steering wheel controls easily on the head unit as well? So let's start with steering wheel controls. It's literally on the screen here. Steering wheel setup. After you've actually connected the head unit to the steering wheel output, you just press a button on the steering wheel and then you can set what function it has here. Nice and easy. Now, go into the settings, under general, and we scroll down, we will find the setup steering wheel key there as well. But also we find the panel illumination, and this will allow us to control the color of these buttons down here. Just by moving the thing down here, I've got the RGB color, so that's pretty cool as well. So what it doesn't actually have, from what I can see, is the ability to actually control a logo or add a logo to the startup, at least not directly in the menus here. Right, let's talk about features. So this does have standard Android stuff. It does a reverse camera, it does the AHD reverse camera as well, so that's the proper quality ATOTO reverse camera, which I actually have installed in my car at the moment. It does a high definition of front recording as well, the DVR. It has all the standard stuff that you would expect, Bluetooth streaming, Bluetooth hands-free, analog video input, you can add tire pressure monitoring to it. But a couple of additional features that people are generally looking for with today's head units are Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Now this head unit actually has both of those, and I do believe that they're wireless as well, so I'm going to go and test that now. So grab my trusty iPhone, go to settings and Bluetooth, and we'll look for devices. There we go, ATOTO has popped up, so we're going to tap that. It's connected. And there we go. So what we have there is wireless Apple CarPlay, and that is absolutely awesome. So you have all access to the music and apps that you have on here. You can see that I have Spotify, which is what it's on at the moment. So I can go in here and I can access all my music, and obviously Google Maps is here as well, so I can utilize that functionality as well. So nice, easy Apple CarPlay. It's exactly the same as it would be in any car, even the stock radios, Apple CarPlay. Now this app that I'm using for Apple CarPlay is called CarLink, and if you open it, it actually does show you what it does. So it says wired Android Auto, wired Apple CarPlay, and wireless Apple CarPlay. So what that's basically telling me is, if I want to connect my Android phone to this head unit, I'm going to need to use a wire. So I'm going to plug in my USB-C cable, plug it into my phone, and let's see what happens. So it's connecting. And there we go, we have Android Auto already on here as well. Total access to my Waze, total access to my Spotify, on all of the other apps that are compatible. So that is absolutely awesome as well. Let's talk about the big one, sound quality. So it's an ATOTO, and when you buy an ATOTO, you get a device which has an excellent sound processing unit with DSP, which is digital signal processing, at a very high level as well. So let me show you. Go into settings, device, sound, and then audio setup. You will see the graphic equalizer. It's 18 bands graphic equalizer. Switch it into bars, and you can basically modify this to basically how you want it, or you can do it like this with your finger, so that you can set up the sound exactly as you want it, which is really, really cool. And then we go into sound field, and that's just the normal balance and fade. Again, you can use your finger to move that around. Time correction is setting individual delays to the speakers, so you can get the sound that you're looking for. Stereo sound enhancement digitally alters the sound to try to make it sound a little bit more to your liking, and you've got things like frequency, through gain, low pass gain, Qualcomm gain, and mixing gain. So there's things for you to play with to see what it sounds like. bass boost. You've got two of them. Why? Because you can actually control the bass boost for the front and the rear of the car separately. That's really, really cool, especially if you've got different speakers installed in different areas of your car. And finally, the bass filter. You can separately control the frequency cutoff ranges of your speakers using this feature here. So all in all, you have total control over the sound on this head unit. This is very normal for ATOTO head units, and buying an A6 cheaper unit does not take that away from you. It is amazing, and I can tell you it does actually sound beautiful as well. Right, let's give it some scores. Hope this video is helpful to you. If you have any questions about this unit, please do ask in the comments section below. And obviously, if you like my content, please like the video and subscribe to my channel for more.